Hey Terry, it's Heather. From class, I thought I'd take a minute to respond to your discussion board because I really enjoyed reading it. I really like how kind of on the second part of your discussion board, you kind of start talking about, okay, like as a Christian counselor, here's how I'm going to approach thwarting temptation. First is just prayer, right? Just spending time with him. In session the other day, I was talking to a client about prayer time, about, how to go about it, and just where you just talk to God. It can be in your car or in the shower, while driving. Sometimes in the middle of the session, I just kind of pray over him to give me the words, And so my client and I were talking about, just talk to him, just spend time with him, and kind of even God, help me, take this from me. I think there's a difference too when we have that active submission, when we have that vulnerable time with him. So building that stronger relationship with God, I think was really smart for you to kind of start out with. I think the second one that you kind of talked about was just know yourself, right? If you know your heart, you know your triggers, your temptations. If you know kind of yourself, you can put boundaries up, you can put parameters up, all the way from blocking stuff on technology to not going certain places, or, with some of mine with addictions, like they won't go to any restaurant that has alcohol, right? So like you can go to ones that don't, like McAllister's or Jason's Deli or something like that, so you're not even tempted, which I live in Dallas, so it's a little bit easier to do than kind of smaller places. But, you set boundaries, you put parameters into place, you have support, you build a team. But really just the more knowledge you have from Googling, what places look like, to what times they're the most crowded of the day and what to expect there, to just knowledge of people, their intentions, their heart. I think the more that you know yourself, the more that you trust yourself, because I do think knowledge feeds into trust in yourself, in relationships, because then you can trust yourself in certain scenarios. I also use CBT because you're really talking about your thoughts, your feelings, your actions. So when you know your triggers, you can kind of know those and kind of change your thoughts and thus change your actions. So knowing your whole list, whether you have 10, 20, or 100, kind of knowing what the top ones are and how they make you feel. Because often temptation is a daily part of our lives. It's a pull towards, just number one, being human, number two, sinning, but it's just going to be part of it. And to thwart it, we're going to put tools into place. I like in the first paragraph how you bring up just like how your brain is working, like your brain is conditioned to want a reward, right? So, so you're talking about dopamine. I really love studying the brain. I found an article on the neuroscience of this. It's very sciencey, but there's a certain part, interesting, that talks about, it's often, though not always, kind of some of these, the drug use, the addictions, it's mediated by the positive incentive motivation. So they're talking about the incentive to use it, but kind of the next couple of sentences say, there's that need, there's that drive, but also there's the motivation that they were talking about, but there's the stimuli that are the generators of motivation. So you've got that stimuli. You've got that stimuli that gives you the motivation to seek something that is addictive. I think not only that knowledge of your heart, but also just, okay, what drives me? What are rewards, and what are short term, what are long term, just incentives to do stuff, knowing if they're healthy or not. So I'm really glad that you mentioned the brain, because I love studying the brain, but I'll put the article at the bottom of this. I hope you have a great Easter weekend. Bye.